There is a door we all come to, one that protects the facts and truths that hold our reality together from that which floats beyond reason and sanity. Once we walk through that door, nothing is ever the same. We can become lost in the abyss of man's imagination, wandering down the long hall into the kind of madness that is dangerously pervasive. Infected with a delirium most foul and contagious until we are all unable to navigate our way back to what is real. It is here where we find absurd conspiracies. There was a time not too long ago when we only hoped to understand the smallest of that which makes up the human. This would become known as DNA. Not many people know that as early as 1869, there was a landmark breakthrough in genetic research, because that was the year which a Swiss physiologist, chemist Friedrich Minscher, first identified what he called the nuclein inside the nuclei of the human white blood cell. Almost 100 years later, researchers would demonstrate the 3 bases of DNA code for one amino acid. The human DNA code was essentially cracked completely in 1999 when scientists from the Human Genome Project successfully sequenced the genetic code of an entire human chromosome. What came after is the stuff of legends, and more than a fair share of confusion. It was assumed that mapping the DNA code would lead us to a complete picture of evolution. However, according to some, it has led us to a place far more unsettling. They say it has led us to the barn and to a new theory of the genesis of man. We share more DNA with pigs than we do with apes. This came as a horrifying shock to researchers. We were all thinking that apes were our closest relative. Imagine our surprise to find out that the bacon on our plate was our great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. I know about 100 genetic researchers that became Muslims that day. Believers of this new theory called Swine claim that there is lost history and a direct link from prehistoric Swinus maximus to Homo erectus, and that the reason that it has not been uncovered is a twisted tale. I was friends with William Darwin, Charles Darwin's oldest son, until his death in 1914. And before his death he wrote me a letter telling me that his father knew that there was no link between ape and man, and that he had found 20 fossils that showed the progression from pig to man, and that he and his father had broke them with a hammer so that no one would ever know that we were really pigmen. Of course, it would not be any surprise to women, really, if you catch my meaning. Some even say that others in early post-Victorian era knew this and tried to weave it into stories. Most notable, the author George Orwell and his work The Animal Farm, where Orwell made the leaders of the farm a boar. And they point to religions for thousands of years that excluded pork from diets. When you look at many of your oldest religions, Judaism, Islam, you see an aversion to pork. It is set aside from all other animals as something we should not eat, and it is a sin to consume pork. Many say it's because of it being unclean and the pigs will eat anything, filthy, and will eat anything. Truly, I cannot think of a more accurate description of humans than that anyhow. And many ancient cultures actually considered pigs sacred. Hindus, Druids, Egyptian mythology, Greek mythology, and Roman mythology all worshipped boars and pigs and considered them to be sacred. It was as if there was a secret and hidden knowledge that pigs were really our ancient ancestors and that we should not be eating them. If believers of this new swine-olution are correct, then it would change everything about the way we live our lives, what we think of ourselves, and what we eat. We already have a tendency to wallow and root around. Maybe these things in this future where we are man-pigs will look as desirable traits, and that would surely be a swine of the times.